This is a pro's guide to Lethal Company. I have over 68 hours of experience in the game, with countless Titan runs on my track and multiple runs where I've reached over 2,000 quota. If you don't know what any of those terms mean, then you're already in the wrong place. This video goes over the deepest metas in the game, from proven strategies to get crap tons of money to bugs that devs don't even want you to know. But before all of that, for Lethal Company shenanigans, subscribe. It'll make you feel a bit better when I describe myself as a pathetic loser in college begging for internet validation to the point where I'll threaten to steal my viewers' internet points. I'll spend it wisely, don't worry. Anyways, Lethal Company's in beta right now, so a lot will and can change. This video is in version 40, which you can see at the bottom left of your main menu, and 50% of the bugs shown in this video will probably be fixed. Let's look at a few pro strats for killing the few mobs that we can actually kill. Let's start with one of the biggest bugs in the game. Well, it's a small bug, but it's actually really easy to counter. If you just stand still while there is a face fucker on you, it will simply remove itself after a while. Now, sometimes it doesn't, but I would say 80% of the time you can just stand still and it will eventually remove itself. Keep in mind, this will only work if you are at full health. Otherwise, victims can be saved normally by getting hit by a weapon, getting teleported, or by leaving the facility. The spider and the thumper can both be killed by jumping up on a nearby rail and smacking downwards with a weapon. Both the facefucker and loot bug can only be killed as the game intended, by manually finding them. Speaking of loot bugs, their attack pattern is simply running on ice and heading towards you. They can stack attacks sometimes, so understanding their movement is crucial to fighting them. They also have a very small range. Spiders can be fought walking backwards, but it's risky and should only be done if there are no railings or pipes to jump on nearby. The shovel can also be used to destroy spiderwebs and whack turrets to go crazy. Other than that, the shovel is useless. There is no reason for more than one person to bring a shovel into the facility. In fact, 50% of the time people will find a stop sign or yield sign to be able to use it instead of a shovel. No other mob is worth killing, so moving on to monsters you actually have to avoid. The most important thing you should walk away from this video is that Brackens can be aggressive just by looking at them through walls. It's dumb and annoying, so if you see a Bracken, turn 180 degrees away. And although you can run away from their aggressive state, it is not reliable. Next is the Jack-in-the-Box, / the Jester. Oh my gosh. Wait, no! Guys, I'm stuck! This clip kinda explains itself, don't get into this situation. It's best to wait at the front door, let it finish winding, and then leave. This will reset the Jack-in-the-Box if everyone is outside the facility for at least 5 seconds. The Jester can also be avoided by jumping into certain places. But keep in mind, the Jester will not go back to being passive until everyone has died or exited the facility. He also can't be killed. The Coilhead is also stupid and annoying, but it's also very possible to lose it. Long hallways and then running around a corner is the easiest way, but it's not always going to work. Sometimes it's best to leave a dude behind and teleport him back, as dealing with more than one monster, as well as the Coilhead, is usually a death sentence. But both the Coilhead and the Jester can and should be trapped behind a sealed door. You can do this by forcing it to go within those locations and getting someone at the ship to use the terminal, or by using the fuse box, which can open all doors and turn off all the power in the facility temporarily. And finally, the girl. If you hear a girl in the facility, you are being haunted. She'll make mouth whispers and talking. She's very annoying, but she's also the only monster that can chase you outside the facility and will chase you 2 to 4 different times attempting to kill you. The only way to escape her is to run or enter a different area. Climbing ladders, entering the ship, and being sneaky does not work. You will be often haunted if you have a high fear stat, which is invisible. But if you're constantly getting the paranoid stat in the final results after you exit a moon, there's a more likely chance you will be haunted by Ghost Girl. Now, eyeless dogs are attracted to a lot of noising, so turn off your radio if you're outside and it's dark out. But they are also very distractible. By using radar extenders, boombox, or even ordering something, you will get eyeless dogs to leave the area. But don't think it will always work, as eyeless dogs work weirdly. You see, dogs require a certain threshold of noise before they go into their attack state. That threshold is pretty high and has to be a consistent sound, but once they enter that threshold, they're gonna be starting jumping and sliding, and they will eventually go after every sound they hear. It's pretty buggy though, so some sounds won't be chased, and it also seems like there's some sort of resilience to a sound if no one dies and is going towards it. But it's all speculation from my hours of playtime. There are also strats to killing the dog, but don't bother, it's very risky. Also, if the dog gets in your ship, hide in the top left corner. There's many ways to get up here. There's no way to expertingly avoid forest giants, unfortunately. They are truly the worst in my opinion, and I can only suggest just to stay out of sight as much as possible by using trees. Run! Only go to moons where they don't spawn if necessary. Bamboo hawks are a little complicated. Like I said earlier, they are like coyotes. They can be intimidated if there's just one of them, screaming, looking at them, using a flashlight, swinging a shovel, and overall seeming like a bigger threat than you actually are. But when there are multiple of them, they will attack more commonly. They can kill you pretty quickly. They like to steal stuff like loot bugs as well. But they can also kill eyeless dogs if there are more than one, but they need to encounter each other so intimidating that interaction can be good. Sandworms are also pretty fucked. If you know one is around, maintain high stamina, and if you hear it, drop whatever you can and run straight forwards towards wherever you are heading. But enough about monsters. Most monster avoidance strategies and interactions are learnt over time. If only there was a way to know how much time another person has. Badges. Shown on every player shows how experienced they are going from an intern to a part-time to employee to leader to boss. Keep in mind, in this current version, the hosts of the lobby's badge will be sometimes bug and will show intern instead. If you take yourself seriously, check some badges before going into a mission so you know that you're not carrying your entire team. If you play modded, keep in mind that some mods will actually reset the progress of your badge. Alright, now you know what each enemy does and how to get a good crew, and you haven't even landed the ship. Let's go over which moon you should actually go to. I'll quickly go over the first 3 maps. Experimentation is your best bet. There are usually no forest giants. It's a very short distance between the main entrance and the ship. Assurance has a long distance between the main entrance and the ship, but that's like the only thing that's bad. And Val, don't go to Val. Val is a huge forest with tons of giants, and also has, for some reason, a 27% chance to spawn the Bracken, which is the highest place in the game. The only thing good about Val is the fire exit and the main entrance are right next to each other, which isn't even that good. Tier 2 moons are now within the area where you might see some coil heads. Starting with offense, my favorite of the first 5 maps, right before landing you can actually jump onto the pipe, allowing you to instantly gain access to the fire escape across the end of the pipe. Speaking of the fire escape, it's only accessible with a ladder at the base of it, which is a con, but at least it's still accessible. I suggest following the left wall to get to the main entrance otherwise. And March has 3 fire exits, making a total of 4 entrances. This is the only map to have more than one. This allows you to have the option of willingly getting lost in the maze, because usually you'll find an exit. Memorizing the directions to go from your ship for the fire escapes is crucial for this map. It also has a pretty high chance for Bracken for some reason. But the worst part of this map is the forest giants. Unlike Val, with its hills that allow you to hide from the giant, March is completely open, allowing giants to see you from across the map. Still a good map, just bring stun grenades. For tier 3 maps, these are very difficult. But Rend and Dine are very similar. Rend is a bit weird. Its pathway going to the main entrance is smaller than Dine, but the fire entrance is fucked. Do not try unless absolutely necessary. It also has a 24% chance to spawn the coil head and a 24% chance to spawn the jester, which means there's a 50% chance you're fucked. Both Rend and Dine will be mansion-like, which means you can't trap monsters behind locked doors because there are none. It's not worth going there. Dine is a bit better though. Because of the extend ladder strat, which allows you to access the fire exit instantly, the fastest in the map, it's the fastest you can enter any facility. Spawn rates are a bit better, but the Jester still has a 15% chance of spawning, so watch out for him. Overall, much easier to navigate than Rend. Titan is the best map by far. You might think that Titan is crowded with enemies because of the small amount of space, but they're usually easy to deal with because of the map's height. Because if all else fails, jump off the edge and near the ship. Dogs will usually spawn pretty early, so communication with the player on the ship will be a little limited, so it's best to think about leaving at 3 PM. It's pretty early, I know, but it's for the best. You can place an extension ladder here to drop off loot close to the ship. It's also the only map where you have to worry about what's directly outside the facility. Don't forget about stun grenades for this map, as forest giants can and will spawn. I won't be going over weather effects, as you should know them by now. Just know that, keep in mind, rainy is extremely easy to deal with. And finally, we land. Many online forums I found will say to dedicate a person for certain roles, like a go back and forth with loot, communication. It's confusing and annoying. Let's simplify it drastically. Unless you are on the first 5 moons, only one person should stay on the ship. Because if you're on the first 5 moons, everyone should go in. You should bring 1 shovel in, walkie-talkies, but everyone does not need one, and an extension ladder if you need one. You do not need to bring any zap gun, any TCP, anything fancy. You don't need more than 1 person on the ship. And most importantly, you don't need flashlights. It's that simple. The more and more you understand this game, the less and less you will need a flashlight. The more time you spend dedicating roles, the less time you have to loot the facility. Good runs on Dying and Titan can give almost $1,000, and the first minute that you have on the moon is the most crucial and critical, as there are very little monsters. Inverse teleporters can be used at the start of the mission, but only use them if you are very confident in the game, as being teleported in the middle of nowhere is surprisingly difficult. And finally, we enter the facility. With your knowledge of the monsters, what you should be doing, and how to accomplish it, you are ready to scrap. Let's go over the 2 different facilities. Try to stay away from the maze-like structures within the main facility. They're complicated, and you should explore every room outside of that before going into them. And the mansion should be explored with concentration. There are a lot of turrets and mines, so using them as waypoints is effective, but also get ready to GTFO, as jesters are everywhere. Walkie-talkies are very effective here. Scrap weight is the same across every type of loot, but the value has some small deviation from a set value. Beehives should also be grabbed, and solo as well. You should put them at the back of your ship and then grab during the takeoff sequence. And if all else fails and everyone died, reload the lobby before it autosaves to restart that specific moon. When you're at the company building, sell enough to reach your preferred moon and the items that you want, and nothing else. If you understand everything I have said, good job so far. Let's go over 5 common mistakes people make in the game that I see very often. Number 1, bringing useless items into the facility. Flashlights, boomboxes, and other stuff prevents you from picking up more items. If you truly feel the need to bring something like a boombox in to prevent slimes from spawn camping the entrance, leave it by the exit. Number 2, the most common ways of dying across all players go by the following from most to least. Number 1, falling from death. Number 2, bracken. Number 3, eyeless dogs. Number 4, turrets. And number 5, giants. Understanding the main threats to your playthrough can be handy. Make sure to avoid these as much as possible. Number 3, communication. Tell your teammates what's happening. There's nothing down here.
Okay.
Threats, location of loot, status of what you're doing, and asking if they need help. Better safe than sorry, and if there's $400 worth of loot right next to the ship and the terminal guy does not know, he'll most likely leave them behind. Number 4, keep your walkie-talkie on. Watching your battery life functions almost as a clock, and understanding when you need to leave is crucial. Your walkie-talkie will last the entire day, so you don't need to recharge it. And number 5, buying useless stuff. Decorations won't help you in gameplay. Feel free to buy them though, I'm not stopping you, because my final advice I have for you is to have fun. Yes, this is a pro guide, but the moment you lose interest and start to sway your attention while exploring the facility is the moment you get lost and die to a bracken. This is a video game, you are meant to have fun, don't take everything in this game seriously. That's all for today, please like and subscribe, God loves you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.